All right, take it away, Tom.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Spoilerin time. This week we're going to devote our Spoilerin to House of Cards. Definitely the first 3 episodes. We'll probably trot around the 4th one as well, because joining us is Derek Hughes, who has watched the first 3 episodes. I think Brian has watched the first 4, and I've watched the first 6. So I'm going to try not to mistakenly tell you anything from 4, 5, and 6, Derek.
Yeah, man.
If it's more, again, like... It's like that first episode where it's something like that makes you jump up and say, what the hell did I just see? Then please don't say anything.
Okay, yeah, no, we'll be good about that. Let's start with episode 1. First of all, did you guys notice that I believe, and I might be wrong on this, in fact, I was so curious about it, I went back and listened to the season 1 intro music. The intro music, slightly different. It's a different arrangement. Same themes, same everything. I thought... I liked the season 1 intro music a little bit more. Like maybe it's because there's something about the moment I hear that do 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 do, you know, my brain just goes into like, oh, it's on now. And they really brought that down in the current mix. I don't know if you saw that.
I kind of noticed it, but then again, it's been so long since I've seen the first season that I kind of forgot. And then you just hear the swelling of the music, and then with the imagery of Washington D.C. You're just back in it. You're like, yeah, okay.
Corley _ in the chat room is saying that it was strings instead of piano for it, which maybe it was just a different arrangement in there.
Oh, maybe that's what tipped you off. Yeah, because I didn't really notice. I mean, now that you mention it, I'm like, yeah, it did feel a little different, but it didn't strike a chord with me necessarily. I just like watching Washington D.C. go by.
Sure.
But I mean, come on, let's get to the thing. Okay,
Everybody's
been warned. It's spoiler in time. Where were you when Frank pushed Zoe?
Oh my God. Okay, can I tell you? I had sat down to watch. I got permission from Bonnie to watch without her, and I had been at this convention, so I was watching as much as I could. Had to go off and do the marketplace and talk to colleges to book my stage show. And then I came back, and there's like the party suite that we're all hanging at. And I'm like, hey, guys, I'm just going to take my contacts out. Give me just a moment. So I go out to take my contacts. I'm like, well, I'm taking my contacts out. I'm about 40 minutes into this episode 1. Let me just hit play. And I'm doing the contacts, and I put on the glasses. And then there's a moment when I realize, like full 30 seconds of shocked face, of red wedding, like jaw dropped. Like at some point I realized my face had become a frozen mask of shock, and because I'm at a hotel, I look up over my laptop, and there's my ridiculous face, and it was I almost took a picture of my own shocked face, but then I realized nobody would believe it was real.
Oh, I wish you should have. That's amazing. What about you, Derek? What were you doing when you watched it? Were you just
with some friends. We were actually doing sort of like an anti-Valentine's Day House of Cards viewing party. So sitting there watching it, and you're just watching the episode and you're wondering where this is going to go. And then it was so abrupt, so shocked. You were just like, you jump up and you're looking at each other like, what just happened? Like that couldn't have happened. Your brain is trying to process it. Because especially, as a writer and working in television, like you get so used to like characters being a part, at least for a couple of episodes before they decide to kill somebody off as prominent as Zoe.
Sure.
And then you're just like, that couldn't happen. You're just like, it just happened. This is the most amazing thing I've seen yet.
Now, Derek, when I was watching the few minutes leading up to that scene, that was a weird scene. They don't give a context, and they don't have her saying like, I'm going to go meet up with Frank now or whatever. Like all of a sudden she's just in what feels like some kind of haunted subway. And you have the discordant, percussion in the background, and she's just scanning everywhere. And then finally she sees a dark figure, and you're like, "Oh, that's right. I guess she's going to talk to someone."
No, remember, because when she was in the scene prior to that, she was in the office, and then she gives Constance Zimmer a look when she gets that text, because she is like, so that she's still communicating with Frank. And so naturally, because they have already set up that rhythm of like they tend to meet in the subway station. So when she was in the subway station, you're like, oh, she's gonna meet with Frank. But where my mind went was like when he was dressed up looking like Inspector Clouseau.
Yeah.
It's or Deep Throat. It's just sort of like I thought it was because like, oh yes, because now that he is vice president, he can't be seen down here in the subway station by himself. Never thinking or realizing that he might do this. And even still, it's still kind of one of those things of like, did he always intend to basically say like, okay, if she's all the way on board, I'm going to do that, then she clean slate.
Well, and it's funny because I find myself doing the same thing, is replaying it from his perspective. Like, okay, we got to this moment and Frank doesn't do anything impulsively. He thinks about it in advance. Like, did he scope the place out? Did he figure out where the cameras were? Did he pay attention to the schedule of the train?
Absolutely. And he made sure she deleted everything on that phone because just in case it's recovered, he doesn't want to have any record of it.
Yeah. Well, and I liked the way that they, and it continued in the next couple of episodes where they sort of set the stage for the impending complete loss of privacy. Or I'm going to use air quotes when I say complete, by having construction done on his house and, this invasive, eyeballs everywhere makes it more difficult for him to work in the way that he's accustomed to doing. And it did kind of have this feeling like he was having this conversation with her at that moment because it was the last time he would have the opportunity to speak freely and to not be seen.
I was getting some almonds out of the kitchen when it happened.
What?
Like, we had some couple friends where we were kind of doing the same thing you were, Derek, just like, let's watch House of Cards, have an anti-Valentine's Day thing. And they're having this conversation. And I'm like, okay, this seems like Frank's going to say something, she's going to say something sort of thing. I've seen them delete the stuff. They're probably not going to go back and do the phone bit. It's safe for me to just listen and get up and grab something real quick. Take me 20 seconds tops. I go in. It was the worst timing ever. I go in, and all of a sudden I hear, "Oh my God!" And then I come racing back in and see like a train and no one around. I'm like, and then the looks on the faces, I put it together. I'm like, that's ridiculous. But I think that's what's so crazy about that scene is there's really not. I mean, when you look back, you're like, okay, he did that calculated, and like you say, he was dressed like Inspector Clouseau, so he can Pink Panther off at the end. But
yeah.
There's really I didn't pick up on any hints that was coming.
That's why I'm wondering. That's why I keep going back and forth. Is like, was this more impulsive in that moment? Like he just realized that there is no going back. Like she's not completely on board. And the fact that she's asking these questions means that this is she's a danger. She's a threat. And so he just said, "Screw it. I'm just going to get rid of her right now."
Yeah. So did either of you guys watch the original British version of House of Cards?
No, my friend did, and she was the one that pointed out that she was so surprised because in the original British version that's how the season ends. Yeah. That's how the last episode of pushing off a bridge or
it's off the top of the building. He's meeting with the girl, and unfortunately, like I only half watched it, and I feel bad now. Like it was one of those like, you've had a few beers and it's 1 a.m. like, let me turn on the British House of Cards. So it's like I remember that scene vividly, but I don't remember if it was the analog to the Zoe Barnes character. I assume it was, but he's up on the top of the building, and they're sitting there talking, and at some point it becomes clear that it's not going to go well, and so he just full on boom throws her off, and she plummets to her death off the side of a building. Spoiler alert, by the way.
Yeah.
If you were planning to go watch the British version of House of Cards.
Brian likes to spoil all versions of a property at once.
Look, we don't mess around. Yeah, apparently people are correcting me in the chat room saying that building was Parliament. So if that matters to you, then great. Well,
I mean, wouldn't it be different if he didn't push her in front of a train but threw her off the top of the Capitol building?
A little bit. Like, the Washington Monument, like out the window or whatever. Let me tell you, okay, so that was a genuinely surprising, shocking moment that had a lot of ramifications. When we ended the first season, it felt like we saw two sides, both gathering a lot of power and something big about to happen, like they're going to take him down. I remember thinking from the gathering storm clouds at the end of season 1, like, well, he's screwed. They're going to do this. But instead, by utterly eliminating Zoe Barnes just like that, all of a sudden the other side has no power, and it sort of reset the bar for another level of ascension, right?
It was rather brilliant. I mean, it was just sort of like, because again, it's like my friend actually, she texted this, which is kind of funny because I was getting all these texts all weekend long from different people. But my friend, are we allowed to cuss on here or not? Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. She said, "Holy shit!" Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! He just threw the boring girl in front of a train. She said, "Fucking amazeballs. No other way to say it."
That's awesome. So
That's amazing.
And that's it, though, because you kind of was like, as you were settling into, okay, season 2, how much more can they take this Zoe and Frank Underwood relationship of like how many times can he give her information and what else is he going to use her for? He's a vice president. What else does he really need her for at this point?
right.
And apparently not.
Apparently they agreed.
Well, and the question in my mind then is, well, why are they spending so much energy keeping Rachel around? Maybe I'm being too flippant and like, if you can kill Zoe, why not kill Rachel as well? But
it does kind of open that up, and then there's
the whole Luke thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope they would address that. So around 40 minutes, all of a sudden, I become very, very interested, and Zoe Barnes is killed, and I guess 7 minutes later, there's that moment where they're in the bathroom, and Frank's wife leaves, and the camera lingers. And I remember thinking two things simultaneously. One, oh, this is the kind of scene where he turns and talks to us. And then I thought, hey, he hasn't done that so far. What's going on? And I absolutely loved, adored. There's oh, hello there. I bet you thought I forgot about you. I bet you might not have even wanted me to know you were there or whatever. Because that's been one of the criticisms. Some people don't like the talking to the camera thing, and to kind of give that little wink in there and pull it off, I thought was really, really great. Personally, I love it. And it's I felt this whole oh, good, you do remember me, Frank.
Yeah, it was that great moment. I thought it was also, that was another brilliant moment. It was because the timing of it worked so well.
Yeah, it totally is oh, crap. Yeah, he does talk to me.
Because there is that sort of voyeuristic sense of viewing, and then you forget, when all of a sudden he turns to the camera. It's oh, crap, I got caught.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
He's looking at me. Oh, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what I liked about it, especially with that being, so most of episode 1 is all straight narrative, and then they make a big moment of this, acknowledging, oh, hello there, viewer, and addressing them. But then what I liked about them taking that big moment was it set up in the next couple of episodes, you saw them really pull back from that, where they would create these moments. They would set something up where there's an aside between you and Frank, and then 3 times later in the episode, something would happen, and he would just look over at you for a second as if that's all you needed to hear. I adored it. I think that
occasionally just a well-placed eye roll.
Yes.
That's all you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, what about the cufflinks? People in the chat room are just talk about the cufflinks. Talk about the cufflinks. Yeah.
I heard that's also a call.
They played
that's a nod to the British series.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because his initials were, I think, were FU, and I think it was it was sort of like a nod to that as well.
Nice.
See, I don't know. I don't know what the point of that moment was. I felt like I understand on the one hand they are signaling that we're seeing a harder version of Frank Underwood that we've ever encountered before or thought existed. But I don't know. Outside of it's funny. His initials mean screw you.
And they alluded to that in the season 1. Now it was in your face, and I think I took it that way. He's not messing around anymore. He's going to push a girl in front of a train if he needs to.
Right. So second episode was what? They were hardening the house. You had that discordant construction noise at all times. What was the other plot?
We meet Cashew.
Okay. Oh, can I tell you about Cashew real quick?
Yeah, sure.
And this is as the father of 3 daughters, including a 1, 6, and 9-year-old. I was really bothered that they showed a guy who owned a guinea pig, a solo guinea pig, because they don't do that. Do you know this? And I don't know if this is an intentional thing that they're doing, like they're intentionally having him be a bad guinea pig owner or something. But like in Scandinavia, it is against the law, literally against the law, to buy just one guinea pig because guinea pigs are social and they need feedback with other guinea pigs. So when I saw just one guinea pig, that stuck in my mind. I was like, I don't know if that's bad writing or intentional.
I was more bothered that it was one of the brothers from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was like, ugh.
Oh, shoot. That's where I saw him. God damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Well, I almost didn't want to know because it's
you
like
got
I
an
had
extra depth of creepiness because of that.
He's one of the brothers. They're always in the bathrobes.
Damn it. Yes. All right. You're so right.
There were 3 guinea pigs credited. I don't know if that makes you feel any better.
Wait, is that true? Please tell me that's true.
There
That's
are 3.
awesome.
There were 3 different guinea pigs credited in the credits. Or was it a guinea pig or a hamster?
No. Those are guiny pigs.
Pig Bob, guinea pig Frank, and guinea pig Gary, or something like that. Did they have name credits at the end?
Yeah. I don't remember I think you're right about the names. I don't remember for sure.
So, okay, so now we get into the whole thing that we were teasing earlier, where we were talking about the whole techno-thriller side of things, where it's like, I don't doubt that everything that they are, I have no doubt that everything's very well researched, and that even if they use a highly visual way to express, here's somebody hacking into handsome boy reporters, what's his name, computer.
Lucas Goodwin.
Goodwin's, right, all right. So Goodwin's computer, like, and with like lots of stuff flashing on the screen, I forgive all of that, but it just reads as so much over the topness, which it keeps taking me out of it during the story. I think it's a good story and a right story, but the storytelling is so, I don't know, almost Terminator-ish that it's difficult for.
I would say, what is it that specifically that's taking you out of this story? Because for me, it felt like what I'm trying to figure out is like, is this guy really who he says he is, or is this being orchestrated by Stamper? It's like, because remember, at one point Stamper comes up to him and says, "We know who's been doing the, leaking the information and who's looking into this." And how did they find that out if it wasn't through the hacker?
Right.
So that's why I'm just like, oh, wait, is this being, because then he says, handle it. And he says, I am handling it. So I'm just waiting for that other shoe to drop. That is it going to be that this has all been orchestrated by Stamper and this guy isn't who he said he is?
I mean, to be honest, the only thing that takes me out of it is the visual representation of it. It just looks like the movie Hackers, which is not renowned for its accuracy. It's just
Johnny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, it's like, look, you could tell he has a virus because graphics are happening on his screen. It's like,
you've
and
never had a cavalcade of pop-ups happen on your computer.
No. I'm just saying, like, for me, there is a slightly more subtle way they could have sold it, and I don't know what that way is. And to be honest, it's not my job to figure out that way. That's their job. But I know for me that it was a little bit distracting.
The only thing that bothered me was when they said, you can choose from Tor or this other thing, which is actually just another proxy for Tor. I'm like, that's actually not choosing. Those are pretty much the same thing.
Right. Exactly. So they're people who tried really hard to get the technology right. You still have the technology people annoyed with you.
I actually wasn't annoyed by the technology because it's far from the worst representation I've ever seen. And I felt like they actually made an effort to use real things and get real advice that might actually be given by somebody.
So the third episode was when we found out that the hacker is, or was it the fourth episode?
Frank seeks the bipartisan agreement to avoid the government shutdown. Lucas establishes contact with the hacker who claims to be able to help him retrieve Zoe's phone records, and Rachel contacts her mother and then meets that girl on the bus who's like, we've got great music. Right.
The support group.
Yeah, I really hope all this Rachel stuff pays off because it is I guess she is the last surviving thread of essentially everything that went down in season 1, right?
That's the potential right there. The danger is that she's going, at some point between her and Goodwin, they're going to connect.
Right. She's the gun.
Yeah.
Right. What else? Then okay.
Also, Stamper's kryptonite apparently.
Wait, how so?
It seems like because he cares for her. He's like, you could see that he's sort of like, I don't know, either fallen for her or something. It
feels protective, yeah, somehow.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never
what I
detected
think-
that he actually cares. I've always felt it was managing. I always felt like he was such a pro that this is how he knows how to manage people.
We'll see.
Hoagie says Stamper wants to make Boom Boom with her. He already did, right? And paid for it. You think he, like, it's
I think
a Pretty
Hoagie
Woman
says
thing?
he wants to do it without paying.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay. So you're saying that he's cheap. I get it. So episode 4. Let's not talk about the plot points. But the one thing, and you Derek are a talented writer who knows tropes, familiar tropes.
Okay.
Episode 4
You what?
is a trapped in an elevator episode. It is a trapped in an elevator with an enemy
the
episode.
bottle episode.
Right.
Right.
And I was distracted that such an obvious sitcom trope would show up in Game of Thrones, House of Cards, and maybe all these tropes have already been happening, and I haven't noticed. And maybe you could correct me on that.
I don't know, since I haven't watched the episode yet, and so it's.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, to me, it was a clumsy, like basically there's some biohazard thing shows up and they terrorist, they get guys in suits and they're like, sorry, sir, it might be anthrax. You got to stay in there with your exact enemy on this one political issue until you resolve your differences.
So it was like 24 as well.
Yes,
Like,
totally was.
24 meets Helix meets Game of Thrones.
Exactly. That's yes.
I don't want to be any more spoilery, but there's no red wedding in this particular episode.
Oh, darn.
So,
It's okay.
I guess my question to you, Derek, is like, assuming everything I said is true, because I know you haven't seen it, is this a weird, lazy trope for them to do for House of Cards? Or as a writer, do you already recognize other well-established tropes that, like, I'm too dumb as a consumer of media to have noticed before now?
No, I don't think, the one thing you should never, especially for a show like House of Cards, is underestimate your audience.
Right.
And then treat them, as if they're stupid. I look at it more as like, okay, if they did something like this, why did they choose to do the elevator story? What was it that they were trying to get out of this story that they felt like, hey, let's do the trapped in the elevator story? Sometimes it's I never want to criticize anybody of lazy writing, because I don't like that. I don't like that criticism, because the one thing, if anything, even in the worst TV shows, if anything you can say about writing is not lazy. There is no part of laziness that's involved. There's a lot of people that it takes to make a TV show,
right.
And sometimes things happen, decisions are made, and for whatever reason. So, for instance, if they had to do the elevator, trapped in the elevator, it might have been like, well, you know what, we need to save money on this episode so that we can do our Red Wedding episode for the next, episode 7 or something like that. And somewhere along the line, so we got to do, we're allotted this much money for this budget, so let's do a bottle episode here, get the story across so that we can help set up and save money and save it for the big stuff that's going to happen 6, 7, 8 type of a situation. And they probably kicked it around like, okay, do we have Frank trapped in the garage, underground garage? Do we have him trapped here? It's like, okay, what about an elevator? Okay, on location, it's on these scenes. We can knock this out and then do this and move on.
Right.
And hopefully, in that moment, get the story that you need to tell out, so that people like, oh, they're doing the trapped in the elevator episode, but out of that comes something that is going to help inform where the story's going and what's going to happen to the characters. So, even though I haven't seen it, but that's especially giving the benefit of doubt for something as high caliber as a show like House of Cards.
So, okay. So now we move into genuinely spoilery territory when we talk about episode 4. And I hesitate to even say. Should we hold off on this?
Maybe we should just hold it off till next week.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, Derek. We won't spoil you on that.
Thank you.
There is. I'll tell you this much, and I'll tease. How about this? This is like a coming up on. I have mad respect for the character of Frank Underwood's wife after that episode. I think that was an extraordinary episode, and it's almost as though she won the Emmy first and then gave me the episode that convinced me that she deserved the Emmy.
Nice.
Yeah, and we'll talk about. I think Claire is getting a lot more important to the storyline. Obviously, if you've seen these episodes, and I also think there's another, and this is the problem with having watched 6, is I'm not sure how much you know about her, but Jackie is one of the characters that I feel is growing a lot, that is brand new to this season. So even though we've kind of cleared house a little on some of the characters, there's no shortage of compelling characters that are either getting more important or growing, like filling in gaps really quickly.
Is Jackie the character that's running for whip?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic, and the actress who plays her, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely,
dude.
And yes,
I like her, okay, but I was thrilled as hell to see David Acevedo eventually become like in charge of the Republican Party. How amazing was that?
Yeah, that was kind of funny. It was like that was the first thing I said too. I was like, hey, what's Acevedo doing on here?
I like that I saw them.
He's moved up in the world.
The third episode, that was the one where they went and arrested people and drug him in or whatever. Like that seemed slightly more theatrical than I would believe in.
The quorum.
Yeah, but loved seeing the characters and the actors and everyone doing great.
Well, you know that was based on what happened in the Texas House,
right?
Like when all the Democrats fled the state. I think they were playing around with that idea. And you're right. Yeah, obviously, a little more dramatic, but not unprecedented.
I agree. But
actually,
man,
I tend to watch the show with a friend who used to be a communications director for a senator. And so I get a lot of the inside, like, okay, this really wouldn't happen. This happens. This would happen. That definitely wouldn't happen. There would be a Senate hearing, for this. So it's definitely sort of like getting the inside baseball talk after an episode, where she enjoys a lot of it, but there's stuff that definitely it's like watching, trying to watch like something like Grey's Anatomy or ER with a friend who's a doctor who'll say like that'll never happen,
right?
But at the same time they understand that you have to give it allowance because it is fictional television and stuff. But there's just a lot of stuff that they get right, but there's stuff that is like okay, they didn't do that, but I can see why they didn't do that.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's like when I said that the ITP is just a Tor browser launcher. It's not an alternative to Tor.
Right.
Exactly. Man, well, so far thumbs up, I assume, all across the board, right? We're all thrilled.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. They've definitely brought their A game season 2, because that's the other thing you're thinking like all summer long, all year long, like where are they going to go with this? How are they going to go with this? And you're so excited when they do deliver, and you're just like, okay, I'm in, and then even more excited that they already picked it up for a 3rd season.
Yeah.
Right on, man.
Well, one of the reasons they were able to do the Zoe twist, I think, is that they knew they had the 2nd season already, right?
Yeah. Well, and now a 3rd season, which is amazing. Yeah. Like, and I hate how that kind of colors my watching experience, was because like I don't think if I had not known that they were already working on a 3rd season, I don't think I would be analyzing like, wow, killing Zoe really does reset everything and move everything back, and we get to sort of throw away the entire narrative of that and make it unlikely. Now that the only way he's in trouble is if they find this chick in Colorado or whatever. I don't know. Like, I kind of wish I didn't know there was definitely going to be a 3rd season, because it's coloring the way I'm experiencing it.
There's always something got to color it, though. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think when they finished, by the time that they had finished the 2nd season, definitely with Bo Williamson and the writers and shooting it, I don't think they had yet known that they were going to get a 3rd season. I think that was announced only like several months ago, or maybe was it even at the beginning of this year or something like that, where Netflix said, yeah, we're going to do a 3rd season. So I think, since this was all shot like last year, that probably by that time they only knew that they were going to get these 2 seasons. And so I don't know, they might have how they explored, okay, are we going to leave it with a huge cliffhanger, or are we going to wrap it up, sort of?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got nothing else, gentlemen. What say you?
That was good. House of Cards, spoiler in time. Thanks to all the Patreons for supporting the show, and thanks you all for watching.
Good times.
We'll see you next week.
Fun. Thanks so much.